Why is it important to advocate for girls in STEM? There are so many statistics and studies out there that show there is a significant gap of women in STEM careers compared to men. By closing this gap and making it smaller, we are giving an abundance and more opportunities to various careers in the STEM fields. This also helps create more diverse work environments and also limit the bias when it comes to the different types of perspectives when working on various projects in these spaces. For us as educators, we have the opportunity to inspire our young students, especially girls in our education space, to bring to light these amazing opportunities that are out there, specifically in STEM. And our guest today definitely has that same passion as we do in this elementary STEM space. Today, we are hearing from Alexandrina Satnoianu, and we first connected over on Instagram. And what is so amazing about this virtual world is, well, we've never met in person, and she's all the way in Lithuania, and we have the opportunity to connect and chat on there. And she is also a member of my STEM Teacher Bookshelf membership. And when I had her in on a call, she was so amazing. It was the middle of the night for her, but just hearing her story and her passion and what she is doing, advocating for girls in STEM is absolutely amazing. And I knew that I needed to have her as a guest on this podcast. Alexandrina is a gender equality expert and communications professional, and the work that she is doing is so important for not only girls in her community, but her own children. She is the mother of two. One of them is an adult, and one of them still is a child. And it is so amazing to hear all of the things that she has done to raise her girls, where one of her daughters, her adult child, is actually in the STEM fields today, where her daughter is an aerospace engineer and also a pilot. Likewise, Alexandrina is doing amazing work for her younger daughter to advocate for her in STEM, and also is starting up and continuing a STEM club for her daughter and girls at her school to expose them to lots of different ways to collaborate, critically think, and get excited about STEM. Alexandrina finds her inspiration from her experience of gender studies and also her experience as a mother, and providing those opportunities in the STEM and STEAM space where we can close that gap when it comes to women in STEM and make a positive difference. She is working on so many more projects that I am mentioning on here. So when you are done listening to this episode, make sure to go and check out her bio, which will be linked in the show notes, because her full story and also the things that she'll be describing today is absolutely amazing and powerful, and also inspirational to help us as educators and also other parents who are out there listening to this, how we can make STEM more accessible for all children, but specifically girls in this space. I am so excited for you to listen to this episode. So let's jump on in and get inspired. Well, thank you so much, Alexandrina, for being here today. We have connected over on social media, and you send me some blog posts. And I know that you are a listener of the podcast and even joined in our STEM Teacher Bookshelf community. And I'm so glad that you're here as a guest, because when I knew what you were doing was so impactful and powerful. But when I heard you speak about what you're doing, advocating for girls in STEAM, and we'll get into that, but just like hearing your story, just a little snapshot in our book club call, I knew I had to have you as a guest. And then side note, I'm grabbing your daughter for some other secret project coming up. But I'm really curious as to, you have such a big background in the business world and everything that you've done. How did you get into the actual work of advocating for girls in STEM or STEAM?
Yes, STEAM is what I prefer. So thank you so much, Naomi, for your invite and having me here. You know me, I'm really passionate about STEAM education, and I have
Oh,
to thank you and the amazing content that you are putting up for deepening my interest and knowledge into STEAM. Actually, my background is in gender equality. I graduated from gender studies, and I think that's the start with my interest in STEAM, having access to the evidence and having seeing that there are not enough women professionals working in science, technology, engineering, arts, math all together. Actually made me become more of an advocate. I am of a curious nature, always passionate about scientific discoveries. I think I got this from my father and from my mom, the appreciation for math.
oh,
She was a seamstress, so basically, thanks to her measurements and calculations,
oh,
she was making dresses, and I've witnessed this in my childhood. But actually, the stark reality is that we do not have enough women professionals. We are at 6% women pilots, 17% women ICT experts, 30% or around women engineers. And that doesn't sound right. Women, girls that are studying or they are working in these professions. They
mm,
might not feel at ease and they might not have the critical mass, the power to push through for having their realities and needs taken into account. So I think
yeah,
we need to have at least 40% women in order for the technologies and the innovations to represent their needs and realities. So I think this is what kind of got me into, and of course, my parenting experience. So I think because we do not have enough women working in these areas, we are not yet at 40% gender balance, then there is not this critical mass that would help them push through the innovations and take advantage of the existing technologies. So the work that they are doing does not actually end up representing different realities and needs of women. And I can
yeah,
give a very trivial example. I think many of us women passing through the airports were queuing at the toilet.
mm,
Yes, you have two toilets for women, two toilets for men,
mm,
but the reality is that we need more
mm,
time.
yeah,
This is a physiological reality, and sometimes due to our caring responsibilities, we also come in with children,
mm,
so that takes us even more time. But maybe there are not
mm,
enough women architects to reflect on these needs, and there are maybe not enough women in the decision making positions to actually approve the constructions of two extra toilets that would be solving these needs. So I guess this is a very simple, out of everyone's realities type of an example of why we need more
that is a
women
great
in STEAM.
example and so true. I actually was just at the airport last night, but I even listened to this book. It's not a STEM book, but it's great. It's called Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, who was the CEO of Facebook. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she
super
talks
great book.
about that in her
Correct.
book. She's not an engineer. She has a STEM job, but she advocated for having parking spots that were actually closer to the building for women who were expecting, because she didn't ever think about that until she was super
Yeah,
pregnant, and she said that her pregnancies were horrible and she was so uncomfortable, and she advocated for that. But she's like, being in an industry that's male dominant, that wasn't ever something that was talked about or even thought about, and she felt bad not even noticing that because she was experiencing it. And they actually kept the parking spots, so that's really great that that's something, but like you said, like trivial but also important. It's
yeah,
daily life too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think women, just because they are encountering the situations, are more prone to finding solutions or innovative solutions to solve these issues. So that's why I think It is a matter of democratic representation, but it is also a matter of having women working in this field, having access to the resources and opportunities to bring in the change that would be solving some of the problems. And I think you and I and all other women viewers and listeners can come
Mhm.
in with many other examples. But
Yeah.
these are, yes, just two. So let's push for having more girls and women in STEAM, because honestly, just the numbers are going to be saving
Oh,
the or
absolutely.
changing
I
the
even
situations.
notice with girls, even in my Lego robotics club that I'm hosting right now at different schools, it's so interesting, and I've seen this too in other clubs where the girls, they can definitely tackle the challenge, no problem, but they always, not always, but very often they add these artistic elements and the design part and the storytelling and just that little bit of creativity. Not to say boys can't, but I've noticed that as a trend, especially where oh, we need to have this part here so that the kids can wash their hands, or we need this part for the family. And so there's that element of that empathy and no realizing how everything's connected together. So the next time you are doing a project with girls, listen to how they're talking about things because the way that they discuss their projects and their ideas have a different flow than typically what groups of all boys do. And I don't know if you've seen that in your STEM
Yeah,
clubs with your girls.
yeah. Actually, I was thinking whether to start the STEAM club as a girls' club or not, but it
Mhm.
was the book of Gitanjali Rao,
Yes.
an innovator's guide to STEM. This is her preferred acronym. That she kind of convinced me that the girls need a safe space in which they could be having the freedom and feel they have the right to tackle problems a bit differently or at their own pace, or if they want, however they want, because it might be that sometimes they don't know how to do it and they are questioning and they are turning the problem to see it from different angles, and only once they have some sort of a deeper understanding they actually work on developing the solutions, where the boys are more prone to taking action, testing and improving and testing
Yeah.
and improving. There are different approaches to innovation that girls and boys take. And in the mixed class at this age, just because boys, they also might feel more confident, um, they could be even taken more space,
Yeah.
girls could be feeling more intimidated,
Yeah.
and they would not get involved as much. So in the end, I decided to run a STEAM girls club, and I have to say that
Mhm.
there are issues that they are bringing to the table that I think pertain to their experiences, and I'm super happy because in my opinion, it's not only about having the skills and knowing how to work with the tools in the case of girls, just because as I said, they are a minority in all these fields. They also need to feel they have the confidence and the right, and they need constant empowerment. From my point of view, from my gender studies, from my reading, from my parenting experience, yes, it kind of led me to believe that we need a bit of an innovative approach with STEAM education that takes this
I agree with you,
empowerment
and I
into
actually
account.
ran an all-girls STEM club at my school my first couple years in that position, and it was a Wonder Workshop, Wonder League competition where it was robotics and building to solve the problem, and that was really important for me to start off with that because the kids didn't really have STEM anyway as a class, but having that where it was girl specific and just really and I even recruited some girls where they didn't actually sign up. I sought them out knowing that they would I really wanted to push them in that direction. So if that's something as a teacher, I know It can be hard if you're teaching all the kids in the school or you have your own class. Maybe if you're a classroom teacher, you do a girls' STEM club, like a lunch club, and you do it once a week, or you do run an after school club, because I think those connections where girls are empowering other girls too, like we're empowering them as the teacher, but also them empowering each other is so important for them to learn at a young age, so that they can be supportive, and like it's
Yeah,
healthy to have good disagreements and come to a
yeah,
conclusion. And so it's really teaching them those soft skills that are essential in whatever career they decide, as they grow up. What are you doing in your club? What kinds of things are you guys doing in your girls' club?
well, it's fresh. We've just started this year, so the school year started in September, and it is actually open to girls from the sixth grade. Also, because my little one, I have two daughters, so my little one, she's a sixth grader as well. So yeah, I kind of had this double agenda. On one hand, to put my ideas in practice. On the other hand, to create this entourage in which my daughter and some other girls, they feel safe to develop their kind of interest in science and get to play with the tools and get to experiment. So yeah, we started by I started by
Um,
introducing the girls to Gitanjali Rao, and they were very, very surprised that a girl almost their age, well, they are 12, and Gitanjali was 15. At the age she received the prize. But they were really impressed that you can be an innovator at such young age, and we discussed about the problems that they encounter in their real life, and which would be the ones they would pick, for which they would like to work further on developing solutions. And I was really surprised that most of them, in one way or another, said climate change. It's either fighting pollution or mitigating climate change effects, or getting to improve the rights of the children in Africa working in mines, also a bit connected. So we kind of agreed together, took a bit of democratic approach. So we took climate change as a topic, and the girls wanted to work on developing scratch animations or videos through which they would be kind of inspiring their colleagues on what they could be personally doing to mitigate the climate change effects. Like, really, don't take the elevator, compost the organic leftovers, don't buy new clothes, sell your games and board games on Vinted. We have here an application, an app that is quite successful for commercializing secondhand items. All sorts of ideas they came up with. And this is what we are currently working on. But just because it was Halloween, we had a very special edition inspired also by your podcast on how to work with pumpkins for STEAM activities, and we developed
Definitely
pumpkin
send
backpacks.
pictures, if you have any, and we can put them on here. This could be a whole blog post for you. You could write a blog post about each of those.
I do have I do have tons of pictures because the girls, they were honestly so involved and so happy, and it was for real a STEAM project, because it was the electricity part, the surprise part, in which we got to connect the pumpkins. We had four pumpkins we connected in a series, and they add all together. They had enough voltage for light up a LED light, and then it was actually the whole pumpkin battery experiment for a pumpkin competition, pumpkin contest at school, and they created a poster. So there was also the artistic aspect of it, and they worked really, really, really well together. And I
Oh.
was super, super proud of them. Unfortunately, they did not win,
Yeah.
but they are winners to
Oh,
me,
that's so
and I have a
sweet. Oh,
prize for
I'm
them.
sure they love it.
Yes.
How many girls are in your group?
Well, this is it. I was not so sure how to take it. We started with 5 girls, and I was a bit bummed, but then I thought,
Yeah.
well, this is the reality. It's true that the club
Yeah.
was announced a bit late, so 3 weeks after school started. Many of the kids have already enrolled to some after school activities,
Hmm.
and there was also this perception that
Yeah.
it's not so much for
Yeah.
girls, even if it's dedicated to
Yeah.
girls. So there is
Yep.
this issue that girls do not see themselves as working or studying or being passionate about this area. But I'm super happy also
Yeah.
because I do not have the hands-on experience. I don't know if I would have handled a bigger number of girls. So 5 is already quite a lot, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I'm not their teacher, and I do not impose the authority of a teacher. And sometimes it's really they it's after
Yeah.
school and they are so relaxed with me that I have to say yes. I need to improve also my way of getting them involved and keeping them focused on what it is that we are actually working on. But the battery experiment was a super hit. I think
Oh,
they love
definitely. And
this
they're going
kind
to
of
talk about it
activities.
more and more. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's not, they don't see themselves in this type of club, which is why you should have that. So you're doing great work. And having a small amount, you can, for
Yes.
you as the teacher, you'll learn your tips and tricks. And I'm sure more girls will want to start joining and they'll talk
Yes.
about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's great you have your daughter in there so she can help promote for you.
Yes. Yeah, I was actually not sure
Mm.
how she would perceive it because it's the age at which, kids they tease each other. So I was very gentle, to be honest, really asking her if she wants to join, if she's okay with it. And she's a big, big supporter. I think
Aw,
she does a great job
cool.
talking about the STEAM club with the other girls, and she seems very cool and at ease with it. So just because she's so authentically seeing
Mhm.
herself as a STEAM girl, I think it is convincing for the other girls. And to be honest, I've also read in a study that this is what makes the difference. So they looked back in the study and asked the girls that they graduated and
Mhm.
become engineer what exactly um, made them choose this career, and they had some options, and among the most important factor it was
Yeah,
also this, that they
yeah.
saw themselves as engineers. They pictured
Mhm.
themselves in this role, besides having good math skills, having a good impression about education in general, an
Yep.
interest in natural sciences. So I think it's very important to normalize. That's why I say that we have to give the girls this feeling that they have the right and they to
Yeah.
be in this area, in these areas. They don't need to be special in any ways. I think also the parents
Mhm.
expect the girls to be
Yeah.
geniuses, but it's not the case. Any normal girl can be a STEAM girl. And yes, I
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about since I have a girl who graduated aerospace
Okay,
engineer
so
at
tell
home.
me more
So
about
yeah,
yes, yes. Well, tell me.
she's very
Okay, you told
normal.
us in the book club, the STEM teacher bookshelf, a little bit more about this, and your daughter's actually going to be helping me with a project that is aligning with exactly what you're saying, helping kids see themselves in STEM. So you have done some things at home since that you're so passionate about this, but also just to help your daughters. What types of things have you done for your daughters? Because your daughter didn't just step into aerospace engineering. I know you were doing some things at home too to kind of help her see that could be a possibility for her. And also your little one too. You told me you do things with her as well.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I am happy that I've overcome my negative experience in high school where I
Mhm.
encountered a misogynist teacher who was telling us, the girls in the class, you're beautiful but stupid.
Oh my
Well, those were the
gosh.
times, many, many years ago. Yes. And of course, it steered me away for good because I was studying math and physics high level in high school, but encountering on daily
Yeah.
basis because I had math daily classes of math, encountering this type of an attitude, it totally steered me away from studying sciences or math. But somehow it remained with me, and this appreciation for math, I passed it on to my daughter. Actually, we were solving problems
Ah,
together as a mother-daughter activity, helping her out to participate in some math competition that she wanted to score the highest 100 points. And she had very good math skills and confidence in
yeah.
her math skills. So there is a bit of a difference because girls nowadays, they
Mhm.
do have good math skills,
Mhm.
but they don't have the confidence. So I think it makes a big difference. Other than that, both myself and my husband, I think we took a non-gender
Cool.
stereotypical bringing approach, in a sense that she got really exposed early on to robotics classes, coding classes. Um, she
Love
was
that.
taught how to fix her bike. We treated her not really as a girl that should be in a certain way, but as a child that should have many many opportunities. And we opened up, I think, in this way, and her interest in STEAM. But that onwards,
Mhm.
it's her own merit for keeping up, for not being intimidated. Of course, I was coaching her and supporting all the way, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's difficult since you are the only girl in the, or there is another colleague in the computer science class, or later on when she decided she wants to study aerospace engineering, to be among the few girls in her group or in the hangar or whatever project, it can be deterring. So
Mhm.
this empowerment, I think it's very important. It played a huge role. And I wanted to learn or to think in retrospect
Yeah.
and see what can I learn from this experience of raising my older daughter that I can apply with my little one. But she's totally different. She's an alpha generation child, digitally native. She doesn't do things just because I say so, or give the example of her older sister doing stuff. So I had to take a bit of a different approach. So with her, again, very gentle, giving examples, providing opportunities to do things together, just to play along, to tease her interest, but no real push. Stepping aside if I see that it's something that she doesn't like. So totally honoring and respecting her interests. And so far it worked well.
Love that.
And this is what I'm writing about in my STEAM parenting blog. Yeah, this generation is
Mhm.
totally different, and we raise them, I think,
Yeah.
to have a voice, to be aware of who they are and their
Mhm.
interests, and you cannot overstep that. So I think, yeah, STEAM education has to take that
Yeah.
into
Oh,
account, their
you're doing a
interests.
great job, mom. Like I love that. Like if I ever had kids, like that's like feel like I'll call you up, "Hey, can you just like raise my kids for me?"
Yes.
You just do it for me.
Yeah, well, every
Mhm.
every every kid is different, and I got to see this with my girls. So
Yeah.
you have to adjust, but there are some principles, and I also know that I don't want to do things that I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to be done to me. So I
Yeah.
think that's
You're
the
doing great,
basics.
and you're sharing that with other kids in the school community, and that's going to grow. What are all the different projects that you have going
Yeah.
on that teachers and parents can check out?
Yes, I've mentioned that I am documenting my parenting experience with my little one on a STEAM parenting blog. I'm fully admiring the pace with which you are developing content and podcast. I
Oh, you're
am
good.
still catching up, but I would love to write and post with an increased frequency at the moment. Yeah, it's still a project to grow. I've started, as you also said, to talk with parents at school. So I'm involved. I'm a school counselor. I'm involved with the community. I held presentations. Um, Also, because I kind of became aware of maybe 10 small
Yeah.
improvements that we could be, or micro
Mm,
adjustments to our parenting. I've made a presentation at the Spring
yeah.
International STEAM Summit. I always seem
Yeah.
to forget the title. And the presentation is on the 10 things, or 10 steps you could be taking for more intentional
Mm,
STEAM parenting. I'm sure that many of us are doing all these. Just to give you an example, not restricting STEAM, or connecting STEAM only to
mhm.
Lego robotics coding. STEAM can be, just because of the use of technology, can be any area. Something I said earlier, do not expect your girl to be showing signs of genius. She can be very,
Yeah.
very much herself with her interest in unicorns and pink fairies, whatever. Take her from where she is and just provide her with an opportunity to know more. So include visits to museums in your travels or in your weekends routines. Make experiments. Integrate scientific vocabulary, or prone conversations that lead to more inquiry. So there are many small things we can do that, in a way,
Mhm.
lead to a big change. So I think this is one of my strengths, my interests overall. Having, as I said, my background in gender equality, the reads, the studies, and then my parenting experience, it kind of led me to believe that
Mhm.
we need this
Yeah.
innovative approach in STEAM education, where we make the girls feel they have the confidence, the right, and the skills to pursue a STEAM career. And I'm working on this
Yeah.
innovative concept of a STEAM education. I will see how I will be able to develop it further, whether, yeah, present it at conferences or just study more. But it's definitely an interest, a passion for me. So yeah, this would be my interest. I'm talking about it on my blog, on my Instagram. So I think your viewers, parents, teachers, if they have questions, interested, want to reach out to me, I'm fully open. I'm really, really
Yeah.
happy to be part
Well,
of
you
this
are
STEAM community.
definitely walking the walk, not just talking the talk. You are doing great work, and you should be so proud of what you're doing. And you're doing this in such a kind way and not um it's just like a very welcoming way in the way that you are presenting this, where it is so needed and it's not making people feel bad, but making others be aware. And we'll have the links to everything in the show notes. So the International STEAM Summit by Wonder Workshop, you might still be able to watch it. I think they leave them up. It's free. You might still be able to actually go and watch it.
Yeah,
But then if
yeah,
not,
yeah.
you guys have to follow her on her blog and Instagram and see where she's presenting next. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing, Alexandrina, and definitely a topic that isn't talked about enough, whether it's in the parent community or even in the STEM teacher community or teacher community in general. And so I'm so grateful that you are a guest on our show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for the invite. It felt really like a long needed
Yes.
conversation between the two of us. And I hope that many more will follow. And thank you once more for everything that you are doing. It's really inspirational. So much of my work is
Oh, thank
also
you. That's so
thanks
kind
to
of
you.
you. We need a big community to help keep this going in our world. So
Yes.
I can't do it alone. So we
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
everybody to raise up their voices and keep doing the great work in our STEM world and overall world for kids.
Yes. And this is how we will be actually bringing in the change that we
Mhm.
talked at the beginning that it's so
Yes.
much needed. So yeah, let's promise each other that we will be talking in 5 years from now, and hopefully with
Yes.
improved statistics and more
Absolutely. And I can't
positive
wait to
outcome.
see what your little
Yeah.
one ends up doing, how she pursues her dreams and use her talent. So I'm excited to hear. She'll be way older in 5 years. So she might almost be done with, she'll be close to being done with high school. So I can't wait to hear what
Yes.
she ends up doing too.
Um. Yes. Correct. That would be a perfect timing. So by then, I think she would have to be decided on what she wants to study,
Yeah.
because now she is so much gravitating between different careers. But honestly, I don't feel how to say I'm not worried at all. I feel like I'm doing my best. I'm opening up her interest in STEAM, and as I said, many of the areas they are potentially STEAM areas. So whatever she's choosing
Yeah.
or will be choosing, it's going to be fine.
Well, I can't
She's
wait
going
to
to be
hear, and I
great.
know we'll keep in touch over the next 5 years. But I thank you so much again
Yes.
for being on the podcast. You're amazing, and keep up the awesome work that you're doing as an advocate.
Thank you so much. I will.